Hello my dear students, hope you all are fine and doing preparation for your examination. This is your revisional video from LPM Public School which is situated in Golabazar, Gorakhpur. Dear student, as you all know that your school is closed due to cold wave, so that's why I am here with my revisional video. In my previous video I have already explained chapter number 1 to 6 and we have already revised that chapter. And today we're going to revise the next chapter, that is chapter number 7. So first of all, you all take out your new Champs English Reader book and open chapter number 7. Dear student, do you know what the title of chapter number 7? Yes, it is The Tale of Peter Rabbit. The title of chapter number 7 is The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Dear student, it is a very interesting story. Through this chapter, we're going to learn that how could a naughty rabbit disobey his mother and faces many difficulties. Okay, so we will learn about through this chapter that we should always obey to our parents, teachers and the elders. Okay, we never disobey our parents, teachers and elders. So without wasting the time, let's start today's video. Student, firstly we will read and after that one by one I will explain this story. Okay, so the story is started from this line that once upon a time there were 4 little rabbits. Once upon a time there were 4 little rabbits. Their names were Flossie, Mopsy, Cottontail and Peter. Their names were Flossie. Student, once upon a time there were 4 little rabbits. Their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank underneath the root of a very big fir tree. Okay, so student, in this paragraph there is a word sandbank. Do you know the meaning of sandbank? The meaning of sandbank that is given in this box, that is small hill made of sand. Small hill made of sand. So once upon a time there were 4 little rabbits. Their name was Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail and Peter. They lived with their mother in a small hill made of sand underneath the root of a very big fir tree. Okay, so now there is a now my dears. One day their mother said to them, "Now my dears," said old Mrs. Rabbit one morning, "you may go into the fields or down the land, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's gardens." Okay, one day Mrs. Rabbit said to her children that you may go into the fields or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Now run along and don't get into mischief. I'm going out. Here is the word get into mischief. The meaning of get into mischief is be naughty. Okay, don't be naughty with anyhow. She said to her children that you have to play, but don't be naughty. I'm going to out. After this, the next paragraph, then old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella and went through the wood to the baker's shop. Okay, then after saying this word, the old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella and went through the wood to the baker's shop. And after that, what happening? We're going to learn what happened the next. So Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies. The 3 children of them, Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. But however, Peter was very naughty. The younger one, Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. Okay. Student, Mrs. Rabbit already given the instruction that don't get into mischief and don't get mischief and don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden, but the little bunny Peter was very naughty, so he didn't care and ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. So what happened there? So what happened the next, we're going to learn that when the Peter squeezed under the gate, first he ate some lettuce and some beans, then he ate some radishes, then feeling rather sick, he went to look for some parsley. So student, what the meaning of parsley? The meaning of parsley is type of leafy herb. Okay, when the Peter ate radishes, beans, lettuce, so after that he went to look for some parsley. So round the end of a cucumber frame, what the meaning of cucumber frame? Do you know that? The meaning is given in the box. You must be seen. The meaning of cucumber frame is wooden structure used for growing cucumbers. Okay. So of a cucumber frame, whom should he meet but Mr. McGregor? Mr. McGregor was on his hand and knees planting young cabbages, but he jumped up and ran after Peter, waving a rake and calling out, "Stop, thief, stop!" Peter was most dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden, for he had forgotten the way back to the gate. He lost one of his shoes among the cabbages and the other shoes amongst the potatoes. When Peter looked for the parsley, so that time Mr. McGregor saw the Peter, and after that he waving a rake and calling out, "Stop, thief!" So Peter was most dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden, for he had forgotten the way back to the gate. He lost one of his shoes among the cabbages and the other shoes amongst the potatoes. After losing them, he ran on four legs. He might have got away if he had not run into a gooseberry net and got caught by the large buttons on his jackets. It was a blue jacket with brass button, quite new. Peter gave himself up for lost and shed big tears. So Mr. McGregor came up with a sieve which he intended to use to catch Peter, but Peter wrigged out just in time, leaving his jacket behind him. He rushed into the tool shed and jumped into a can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in if it had not had so much water in it. So student, what happened to Peter? When Peter looked for the parsley leaf, so that time Mr. McGregor saw him, and after that Mr. McGregor started run and he wants to catch the Peter, but Peter was very frightened and want to save himself. So that's why he ran all over the garden. And after that, what happened the next? Peter hid himself in a can. So after that, Mr. McGregor was quite sure that Peter was somewhere in the tool shed, perhaps hidden under a flower pot. He began to turn them over carefully, looking under each. So Peter sneezed. That time, when Mr. McGregor searching for him, So that time Peter sneezed. So Mr. McGregor was after him. In no time, he tried to put his foot upon Peter, who jumped out of a window, upsetting three plants. The window was too small for Mr. McGregor, and he was tired of running after Peter. So he went back to his work. After that, Peter sat down to rest. He was out of the breath and trembling with fright and had no idea which way to go. Also, he was very damp with sitting in that can. After a time, he began to wander about looking all round. Okay. So, what happened the next when Mr. McGregor was not able to catch the Peter? So that time he back to his work, and after that Peter was feel very happy that he was safe now. But what happened the next? Peter does not know that what to do. So that time he found a door in a wall. He found a door in a wall, but it was locked and there was no room for a fat little rabbit to squeeze under it. Then he tried to find his way straight across the garden, but he became more and more puzzled. He came to a pond where Mr. McGregor filled his water cans. A white cat was sitting at some goldfish. She sat very still. Peter thought it best to go away without speaking to her. He had heard about when Peter protect himself from the Mr. McGregor. So that time he find out a way to go out of this garden, but he became more and more puzzled. So he came to a pond where Mr. McGregor filled his water cans. A white cat was sitting at some goldfish. She sat very still. So Peter thought it best to go away without speaking to her, because Peter was heard about cats from his cousin, that little Benjamin bunny. He went back towards the tool shed, but suddenly quite close to him he heard that noise of a hoe. Scritch, scratch. It was a Mr. McGregor hoeing onions. His back was turned towards Peter, and beyond him was the gate. But Peter started running as fast as he could go along a straight walk behind some blackcurrant bushes. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him at the corner, but Peter did not care. He slipped under the gate and was safe at last in the wood outside the garden. So finally, Peter protected himself at last of this story. But student, what we learn from this lesson? Tell me the moral of this story. We will learn that we should always obey to our elders, because they always teach us good things. So dear student, this is the whole story that you have to learn. And now what's your work? So you must be learn this given all word meaning. Okay, that is given in your book. One by one you must be write and learn this word meaning at your home. It's your work. So first there is a first word, that is a sandbank, and the meaning of sandbank is small hill made of sand. Okay. Second is get into mischief. It means be naughty. Parsley, it means type of leafy herb. Cucumber frame, it is wooden structure used for growing cucumbers. Now the next word is that is given on the next page. Gooseberry net, it means net used to stop birds from stealing gooseberries. After that, gave himself up for lost here, thought that he would never be free again. Sieves, it means tool used for stirring solid from liquids. Okay. Now the next stage, intake, it means plant. So next stage, Next word is hoe. It means guarding tools with a long handle, and after that wood. It means here forest. Okay, students. So these are the word meaning. You must be learn and write this given word meaning in your fair. Okay, with a good handwriting. And after that there is a exercises. So one by one I'm going to explain this all given exercises in my next video. Okay, student. So that's it for today. I hope is that clear to you that what we learned from this lesson and how could you write word meaning of this chapter? Okay, student. So that's it for today. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, and thank you.